Not bad, not bad. We have auth structure in place. So now let's do the same thing with jobs. We want to create jobs controller with these functions, create job, delete job, and you can read the rest. Again, same deal. Just send back some dummy value, create job routes. Again, set up express router. In this case, you can probably already copy and paste the code from the auth router. Then we want to grab the functions from the jobs controller, and the routes are going to be following, where the root, meaning the API version 1 jobs, is going to have post and get. So in here, we'll be able to create a job and get all the jobs. Then we want to go with stats. And essentially, this is where we'll access the data about the applications, how many are pending, the interviews, and all that. And then we have one for :DID, so URL parameter, where we can remove the job as well as update the job. Now, what is important though is that you place this stat above the ID, because this stat string will be treated as the ID. And of course, when it comes to ID, that is actual value coming from MongoDB. But when it comes to stats, it's just a string. As Express is going to be looking for routes, it's going to say, hey, listen, there is no job with this particular ID with stats. So very, very important. Place it above the ID. So let's get cracking. And first we want to go with jobs controller. And then let's set up those functions. And this is going to be the case where I will copy and paste from the README just so I can basically see them right away. So I'll set it up over here. My apologies. Usually I don't like copying and pasting, but this is going to be the case where I'll do that because it will definitely make my life easier, where I want to go with const and then create job. That's my function. We're going to go here with rec and res. And then I just want to go with res.send, and let's go with the name of the function. So create a job. Now, before we copy and paste, you know what? There's actually one thing missing. These all are going to be async. So before I forget that, back in the auth controller, we want to do the same thing. Again, all of these are going to be async because we'll be communicating with our database. So make sure you do that as well. And now let's go back here, copy and paste, and then let's change those names around where we're looking for get all jobs. So that's going to be over here. So get all and jobs, and I'll change the string as well. So I'm going to say get all jobs. Then we want to, I guess, update the job. Again, the order is not really important. I just always like to set up in the order, but I might mess up. So again, not a big deal if we'll have to work in show stats first and then the update job. At least in my opinion, it's not a big deal. So let's say update job here. Then we have a delete job, correct? Delete job, and then delete job over here. Delete job. And then lastly, we have show stats. So that's the case where we can just show stats and show stats route. So show stats route. Let's save it again, just so I can speed it up. I'll take this entire thing. I'll create the routes one. I'll say jobs router. Then let's import, copy and paste from, and we're looking for the controllers in this case. And then more specifically, we want to get the jobs controller. We want to add a JS, and then right above it, let's do the same thing. Where in the auth routes, we already have the router. Again, I don't see the point of repeating myself. So let's set it up here in the jobs router. And then let's set up our routes one by one. So we're going to go here and we'll export right away the router. So export default and then router. And then let's set up all our routes as far as the jobs are concerned. And again, the root one will be create job and get all jobs. And then the other three are going to be one for stats and then two for the ID. So let's say here router.route. Let's set up the root, and then that will be a post one. So first one will be post create job, and then second will be get route, where we want to get all the jobs. Pretty typical REST structure. Then I'll say remember about :id, and I'll set up my stats. So let's copy and paste. Let's move it down here. And this is going to be stats route. It's going to be a get request. So let's get it here, get, and we want to run our show stats controller. Then let's remove this one. And then the last one will be router.route. And we're looking for :id, and then delete. And for this one, we'll delete the job. And for the patch, we'll update the job. So update job. And with this in place, now we just want to go back to a server. And then right after the auth router, we'll pretty much do the same thing where we're looking for jobs routes. So jobs over here. And then where we have the app.use, instead of auth, we'll say jobs. And this will become jobs router. So now with this in place, we can just check what's happening. And we have cannot find module imported from jobs routes. And of course, because this one I called router, and then this one I called routes. So let me fix that small typo. And I think I'm going to go with jobs routes here. That just makes a little bit more sense since the folder name is routes. And it looks like I have no bugs. So now we can hop over to a Postman and test it out, whether we are getting all our dummy values.